Hello, and welcome to beatingdyslexia.com. In this spelling help video, we're going to be looking at a few simple techniques that can really help to improve your spelling ability. These techniques will help to make words more distinctive and memorable, and help you to use your memory in a more efficient way. Once I've introduced these techniques, I want you to have a go at using them to spell one of the longest words in the English language, to prove to yourself that there is no word you can't learn how to spell. And remember, don't worry if you make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but only a fool gives up trying. Okay, let's dive straight in then. To improve your spelling ability, you need to look at where you're going wrong. Anytime you misspell a word, always try to compare it to the correct spelling. This will show you which letters were incorrect and which part of the word you found difficult. With that in mind then, our first technique is about making the tricky parts of words that are easy to misspell more distinctive and memorable. To show you what I mean, we need a word that's very easy to misspell. Let's take, for example, the word necessary. All you need to do is think of the tricky part in a distinctive way. With the word necessary, I imagine the two E's are eyes, with the C in the middle as the nose. I also think of the double S's as a pair of snakes. This fits well with the word necessary, as it sounds like a snake hissing. Again, this extra layer of audio memory helps to make it more distinctive. Alternatively, if you don't like snakes, try thinking of the two S's as double doors. Now, if a memory cue is moving, it will make it much more distinctive and memorable. So try thinking of the double doors swinging open. But remember, it doesn't matter how you make it distinctive, as long as it stays in your head. Okay, moving on then to our next technique, which is find the easiest way to remember the spelling of a word. This is simply about using your memory as efficiently as possible. To give you an example of this, I used to think the word architecture was pretty difficult to spell. However, this was a ridiculous thing to think. Because if we break the word architecture down, we can see that the only unusual thing about it is the silent H. Arch, I, tech, cher. Therefore, the easiest way to remember the spelling of the word architecture is to simply think it has a silent H in it after the C. To give you another example, the easy way to remember the spelling of the word daughter is to simply think it has a silent GH in the middle. Door-ter. Okay, I'm going to give you one more example. The word Mississippi may seem like a very difficult word to spell at first. But this is to show you that you can find an easy way to remember the spelling of any word. If we look closely at how Mississippi is spelt, you can see it has a pair of S's, and then another pair of S's, and then a pair of P's, with an I separating each pair, and then another I at the end. This, for me, is the easy way to remember the spelling of Mississippi. Our final technique then is called chunking. Now, recently I was watching an interview on television with some of the country's top spelling bee champions, and this was one of the methods that they use to remember how words are spelt. Chunking then is simply about breaking long words down into smaller pieces that are easier to remember, in the same way that you would do with a telephone number. Now, to give you an example of what I mean, the word antidisestablishmentarianism is one of the longest words in the English language. However, once it's been broken down into smaller pieces, you can see that each chunk is just as easy to spell as any small word, such as tree or cat. No matter how intelligent a person is, they will always remember how long words are spelt by breaking them down into small pieces. It's simply a reflection of how our memories like to take in information. Now it's time for a quick exercise. I want you to learn how to spell antidisestablishmentarianism to prove to yourself that there is no word you can't learn how to spell. When doing this, remember, don't rush yourself. Learn it one chunk at a time and make good use of the techniques that I've shown you on this video. But the best piece of advice I can give you is don't worry when you make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but only a fool gives up trying. Okay, here's the word anti-disestablishmentarianism broken down into chunks. Pause the video here so you can get a pen and paper to copy them down. Okay, hopefully by now you've learnt how to spell anti-disestablishmentarianism. And if you haven't, please learn it. It's a great way to boost your confidence. To sum up then, I hope you found these techniques useful. But remember, they work best when used in conjunction with each other, so try and make use of all of them. And don't worry if you make mistakes or forget how to spell words. I'm always forgetting how to spell words, but this happens to everybody, dyslexic or not. It's great to get into the habit of using memory techniques. At the end of the day, most people use them in one form or another. The alphabet song that we all learnt at school is a good example of a memory technique that everybody's used. It's simply a distinct way to get the information to stay in your mind. The more distinctive something is, the more likely it is to be remembered.